This is a movie that really sort of yanked my guts around and made me feel very, very unsettled.
You're still listening. This is our final transmission.
We're here, Jamie. Welcome to the Final Transmission podcast featuring Sam Russo and Jamie Carruthers, bringing you one horror movie a week from the dawn of time till the end of time. How are you, Jamie?
I'm doing brilliantly, Sam. This is our Halloween episode. Halloween is coming up in the next few days.
Happy Halloween, Jamie.
Happy Samhain to you, Sam Russo.
Thank you. All Hallows Eve. Glad tidings to one and all.
Yeah.
What are you doing this Halloween?
I don't know. Probably nothing.
Just fucking a pumpkin.
Yeah. Probably just...
It's not really your thing, is it, Halloween?
Yeah, I'm not really into that sort of spooky stuff, you know?
Nah.
That's for nerds. Whenever anyone's like, have you watched Game of Thrones? I'm like, no way, that's nerd shit.
I imagine Game of Thrones is probably in the top 5% least nerdy things you've watched in your life.
I've never watched it.
Oh, well, there you go.
I wouldn't watch it. It's too nerdy.
That is an outrageous claim. Guaranteed to anger the squares.
I've watched 3 episodes of House of the Dragon.
Oh yeah, is that the new shit?
Yeah, I thought it was awful. So, no chance.
Yeah, that's definitely the best way to approach Game of Thrones, is to watch 3 episodes of the dog shit sequel and then write off the entire series.
I mean...
Textbook.
Yeah,
How it was intended.
I saw Candyman Farewell to the Flesh before I saw the original Candyman.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Candyman. But I also love Candyman Farewell to the Flesh, which I probably wouldn't had I experienced it the other way around. So maybe this is the right way to do things, and everybody else is just a hater.
I don't think your one experience of the Candyman franchise necessarily translates to how you should watch every single series of media throughout forever.
I mean...
Don't let me tell you how to live your life, obviously.
Watch everything sequel first, because then you'll understand more about the original, right?
Would you do that with this week's movie, Terrifier II and Terrifier?
No, but I imagine that a lot of people did do it that way around.
Yeah, what? Because 2 was bigger.
2 was much, much bigger. I reckon that a lot of people went to Terrifier 2 and then went back to Terrifier 1 and were probably confused.
My guess would be that you probably watched something incredibly obscure first, like All Hallows Eve or the short film before that, or some old Leone thing before Terrifier.
No, not really. I hadn't seen
nerd shit.
I hadn't seen All Hallows Eve. I thought it looked like, please forgive me out there, but I thought it looked like schlocky modern horror like ass.
Mm-hmm.
Based on the cover, and that was it. So I was just like, I wasn't interested.
Binned it off based on the cover. Why don't you tell our listeners what these films we're talking about are, these pre-Terrifier
Well, so
flicks.
Obviously the first feature that Damien Leone directed was All Hallows Eve, and that was basically a cobbling together of his 2 initial Terrifier shorts, which were The Ninth Circle and Terrifier from 2011.
That was it, The Ninth Circle. That's what I was trying to remember.
I mean, I've seen those shorts, and they're fine. That's it.
Said everyone after seeing Throwing Stuff Live.
Yeah, I've seen the shorts. The shorts are the best bit.
Does anyone wear trousers in your band? I guess Alan does, but he's behind a drum kit.
He does wear trousers. He wears like burgundy fucking slacks.
Yeah, he loves a bit of burgundy. Good on him. Good complexion, good hair, good burgundy.
Yeah, good grief.
Are you wearing shorts right now?
No, I'm wearing sweatpants.
Interesting.
It's too cold for shorts, Sam.
Hold on.
Have you existed?
You're wearing Shut the fuck up. You're wearing sweatpants, a corduroy jacket, and a beanie. Have you slipped? Are you in trouble? Blink twice if you need help.
I am just wearing as many clothes as possible because my house is freezing. And since getting a smart meter, we don't put the heating on anymore.
I see. That makes sense.
Because I just watch it ticking up and it makes me want to die.
Yeah. I love this. Sweatpants, corduroy jacket, beanie. Absolute fucking truck driver who's definitely going to fucking kill you outfit.
What's wrong with a corduroy jacket?
Get in. Nothing. It's just it's a wild choice with sweatpants. Here's the big question though: would you go to the shop dressed the way you are right now? Just nip out for a pint of milk.
100%.
Good. Okay,
The only difference between what I'm wearing now and what I would be wearing if I was going out is my trousers.
Right, not shoes, for example. Or...
Well, you don't know what I didn't mention what I'm wearing on my feet.
True. What are you wearing on your feet?
I'm wearing slippers.
Let me guess. Oh, okay.
Obviously.
I was going to say clogs. Clogs would really complete the look.
I'm wearing toasties slippers.
You're wearing authentic buckskin moccasins.
I'm
Are you actually wearing toasties? The actual branded toasties?
Yeah.
Incredible scenes. You're such a classy man.
I'm very casual from the waist down in my clothes and everything else. But for the waist up, I'm fairly formal, I think.
Strictly business. Yeah. Makes sense.
Anyway.
Well, now that everyone knows what you're wearing, very important information. Let's go back to the world pre-Terrifier. What was happening? What was the origin of all this clowning around?
Well, Damien Leone worked in special effects.
Yes.
And had this idea of making a slashery thing. And so he did, because he can do stuff, because he works in special effects. He's got the world at his disposal, basically.
He's got the keys to the kingdom.
Yeah, in a similar way to like Steve Kostansky, because like they can do all of the special effects stuff relatively cheap because they already have all the stuff like in their little shed,
and they can do it competently because they've already built a fucking career out of doing it day in day out, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so pre-Terrifier shorts, Damien Leone wasn't doing an awful lot.
Right.
Like he'd done some stuff, but nothing that had like been in the mainstream, unlike say Steve Kostansky, who had done a bunch of stuff as part of Astron 6 and whatnot. But the stuff that Damien Leone was doing, even just in the shorts, which, you know, don't necessarily hang together in the best way, but like the special effects are always really good.
Yeah.
It's just like a real commitment to being able to making it as good as possible. Like not just accepting shit because you can.
You mean because he knows his way around special effects, he knows what's possible, so he's always pushing for the max rather than settling for maybe someone else's bullshit.
The first Terrifier movie, I mean, we'll talk about that in a bit more depth in a little bit, but in the first Terrifier movie, that will cost what, $35,000?
Yeah.
Which, like, you know, is big money to me and thee. Like, if I had 35 grand in my bank, I'd be a happy dude right now. But like, in terms of like making a movie, it's not very much. And like, there's not an awful lot really cinematically, historically, that you can do with 35 grand.
No, and a bad couple of days can munch a huge chunk of that. You know, your project could die so easily with such a small budget.
Absolutely. But what Damien Leone does is he makes his money work for it. Like he really nails that. And it's like, obviously the performances in the first Terrifier movie, not particularly great. Everybody apart from David Howard Thornton, I think is, you know, they're acting in a low budget movie that probably doesn't have time to do loads of coverage, and they don't have the opportunity to really give their best performances, which is the nice way of saying that all the performances are pretty shit.
Why are you going with nice ways to say things today? Is it because it's because you're in a good mood?
I am in a good mood.
Yeah.
Sunday, Halloween's just around the corner.
You're being nice.
Yeah. So yeah, these are things, right?
Good point.
So how we're going to set this out? So we're going to talk about Terrifier 1 for a little bit, and then we're going to talk about Terrifier 2 for a little bit.
We're going to try really hard not to talk about Terrifier 2 while we're talking about Terrifier 1.
Yeah. And then after we talk about Terrifier 2 for a bit, then we're going to come back and talk about the confluence of the two.
You sure you don't want to talk about 2 first, the way you prefer to watch things?
No. For the podcast, I rewatched them in the correct order.
Interesting.
Which is I watched 3, and then I watched 1 and 2.
Brilliant. Is that a spoiler? Is that where you tell everyone that chronologically 3 occurs before 1? That'd be a head fuck.
No, I mean, the only thing I'll say about 3 is that it picks up at the very end of number 2.
Okay, the only thing I'll say about 3, 2 things. I haven't seen it. I'm
Yeah.
really fucking excited to see it because it's a Christmas horror movie, which I love. Oh, I love that shit. I can't wait. It could be total garbage, and I'd still really enjoy it. Do you want to know something really controversial about how I watch these movies?
You watch them on YouTube. You watch them out of order on TikTok in 15-second
Wow.
chunks.
That would be you while eating a Dairy Lee Dunker. All the things I hate the most in the world. Watching movies on TikTok while eating Dairy Lee Dunkers. Actually, just be dead. That's horrendous behavior.
Can you tell me and the audience like what your beef with Dairy Lee Dunkers is? Because
They're fucking vile. First of all, I hate all food that comes pre-portioned in a little plastic box. A Lunchable sends me into a rage. I saw a grown man eating a Lunchable at the airport and Claire had to hold me back. I nearly murdered.
I would say almost all food comes pre-packaged, pre-portioned in a little plastic box.
I wouldn't. Not the food that I like to eat. And the lunch, oh my God, I don't know what's worse, a Dunker or a Lunchable, because a Dunker is like a Lunchable for someone who can't be bothered, who just has even less to live for. Like, there's no way I'm opening a little foil packet and taking out an anemic little fucking breadstick that was probably made like 100 years ago, and then scooping this cummy, pussy cheese while this little laughing cow looks me dead in the eye and says, yeah, it's going to kill you. And there's no nutritional value, and it's awful, and it's fucking expensive for what it is. Enjoy. It's like melted plastic on fucking sacrament wafer, and I would honestly rather eat my own toes.
I like Dunkers, but
I know because you ate one while talking to me about 10 minutes ago. It was painful.
But I despise Lunchables.
Too much work for you, I guess.
It's not that. It's the meat is bad. The cheese is like slightly too thick for the little sandwich that you have to make yourself. So like,
Really critiqued this, haven't you?
yeah, I'm the Anthony Bourdain of fucking Lunchables.
Of fucking Lunchables. I think Anthony Bourdain was the Anthony Bourdain of fucking Lunchables.
But yeah,
Oh no, it's horrible. It just all tastes like sick. Every part of a Dairy Lee Dunker tastes like some part of being sick in varying stages.
I like them. Not Lunchables. They can fuck off.
Would you eat a Lunchable and a Dairy Lee Dunker if the Lunchable was free with the Dunker?
Like, I would eat it, but I might eat it in layers rather than making a sandwich.
Yeah, the sandwich thing that's what made me so sad, was watching this man make his little Lunchable sandwich at the airport. I was like, mate, I fucking hope your plane crashes.
I just like,
Awful.
crackers aren't designed to be eaten in sandwich form. So like,
No, I would hard disagree on that as well. My God, 2 fucking crackers with peanut butter in the middle. Wow.
fucking crackers with peanut butter in the middle.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, none of this is about Terrifier.
I was going to say, there's no segue on earth to get us back to Terrifier.
Do you know what is nutritious and sloppy and Damien Leone's Terrifier franchise?
Nutritious and sloppy.
Yeah.
Sure.
We're going to take a break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk spoilers about Terrifier Uno.
Quick Dairy Lee Dunker break.
Whoa, holy shit. I guess that's why they call it Phantom Power.
Holy shit, I'm back. You back?
I am back, yeah.
You've got like a light dusting of sort of horrible, sicky looking crumbs on your chin, and your moustache is 100% jism.
Okay. What else is new?
Terrifier 1. When did you see it? What was the experience like? How do you feel about it?
So I saw Terrifier 1.
AKA The Terrifier.
Yeah, I saw Terrifier maybe 2018, 2019.
That's a long time ago. Oh, it came out in 2016, actually, so I'm surprised you waited 2 years. I thought you'd be all over this shit.
I sort of, it floated under my radar for a bit, as it did for quite a lot of people, I would think.
Right.
Until I just saw Art the Clown's stupid little Art the Clown face pop up on, I guess, Amazon Prime or Shudder or something. And then I was like, okay, I'll give this a go. And oh boy, It's a lot more than you're expecting from.
So you weren't sort of like warmed up for it. You didn't know loads about it. You just kind of went in cold and went in hard.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it was a lot more violent than I was expecting it to be.
Interesting.
In a way that I think is really visceral, but fun, but visceral. Like, I was expecting it was going to be like Robert Rodriguez's section in Grindhouse, Planet Terror.
Planet Terror, yeah.
Where it's like goofy violence, where heads are exploding, but in a way that is sort of terrible because it's meant to be like a throwbacky type situation.
Yeah, there's like rubbery stuff exploding and,
yeah,
bits being exaggerated and falling off and whatever else.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was expecting with this from the start, because it's like it's a similar sort of throwback type situation. I don't quite know when it's throwing back to, because like movies like this didn't really exist.
Yeah.
Before the modern, like the postmodern era.
Mm.
Like even like your very violent 80s movies, they weren't very violent in this specific way.
No, you're right. It's sort of got the feeling of Maniac at times, but it's 1,000 times more grisly. As part of what I like about it, I think. But carry on.
Well, I mean, that's it, really. That was my sort of first experience with it. I watched it. I liked it. I felt challenged by some of the gore. One of the things that I really like about the Terrifier movies is that, like, Damien Leone, juxtaposes like very silly, over the top violence with very visceral, very real violence together, and I think that's really fun. Because like one minute you're laughing at the gore, and then the next minute you're like, oh god, this is going too far, and then you're laughing at it again, and it's like being able to like do something silly and ridiculous, but also something that feels quite real at the same time. And I think 90% of that is the fact that we're doing practical effects.
Yeah, for sure. I think it also comes from the fact that it's a clown doing it. Like, he's a physical embodiment of his own violence. Do you know what I mean? It's like, clowns are funny. He is terrifying. What he's doing is awful. The whole thing rolled up in a big fat ball is like, like laugh, cry, rather than sad.
Yeah. So tell me about your first Terrifier experience.
I watched it about a year ago, just because I'd been aware of it essentially since it came out, and I just had it on my list as like a movie that was obviously going to fuck me up a bit. I think I knew it was going to be horribly violent. I knew it was going to be very, very scary, and I knew it was potentially a tricky one to access on some levels because it's obviously low budget and has a lot of mythology and lore around it. Lots of people were talking about it. So I don't know why those kind of hyped movies just tend to slip down my list a little bit. But I eventually got to it, and it scared the living shit out of me. It's one of the most upsetting films I've ever seen. It ticks so many scare boxes for me. It has that grimy, horrible, shouldn't be watching this feeling the whole way through. It's low budget in all the ways that make it feel a bit too fucking real. I found the performances to be pretty believable and pretty much bang on in terms of what the movie needed. The first one, I mean. And the violence was fucking exceptional. Like, absolutely fucking hell, I can't believe this is happening type violence. And that took the whole experience to a place of absolute horror. I found it so hard to watch on that level. And that's why... this is controversial. I haven't watched either of these films since. I haven't been able to rewatch them for the podcast because I honestly don't think I need to. I think once is enough for me. They fucked me up good, and I remember them well.
That's interesting. That is
never done that. Yeah, never not rewatched or watched something for the podcast. I watched Killer Clowns twice. You know what I mean? This is a movie that really sort of yanked my guts around and made me feel very, very unsettled. And I really fucking rate it. I think it's superb. But I just don't think I ever need to watch it again.
I'm a little bit sad that you didn't rewatch the second one, because I know that you had some negativity towards it, which we'll probably get to.
Sustained. Yeah.
But I wondered if maybe on a second watch that might have dissipated slightly. But
no, and we will get into it. But feel pretty sure that what didn't work for me in the second one gets worse on rewatch.
Okay, well,
But it's fun because I know that we fundamentally and diametrically disagree on several core elements of both these films.
I don't know about that, but we'll dig into it. What's some of your favorite bits
In the first one,
In the first one, yeah.
yeah, Art the Clown's, if you can call it an entrance, his first appearance, because I'd only seen still images up till that point, and I thought, yeah, that's fucking scary. But when I see something like this that maybe looks a bit gimmicky, I wonder how much mileage there is in it and just how much you can squeeze out of, okay, we already know the enemy is a scary clown. How far can you take that? Turns out way fucking further than you thought. When he just pops up and he's making those faces and doing those things, I fucking nearly lost my lunch. He's so, to me, I know not to you, so scary. And the performance is so perfect. He's bony and angular and creepy and hunched, and he's got this big beaming red bloody smile. You know immediately that he's going to kill everyone. The girls don't because it's Halloween. You're already setting up this horribly uncomfortable scenario. So that was a massive one for me, was when he first pops up and you're just like, oh fuck, this is only going to go horribly, horribly wrong.
Yeah, I think it's a real testament to the performance, the David Howard Thornton performance as Art the Clown. Like he's pretty magical.
Yeah.
We might disagree a little bit on the other performances. Like I think that Jenna Cannell doesn't really deliver dialogue in a way that I think is remotely human, but like she can.
You are being really nice today.
But she can act really scared in very convincingly. When she's got tape over her mouth, for example, like that whole scene where she's tied up, like you really buy into all of that fear.
Yeah, a lot of good eye acting.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's really good at making faces, that's for sure.
But like I said, the David Howard Thornton performance is really interesting. I think one that, like, I don't know what he's like outside of this. I don't think I've ever seen him in anything that isn't Terrifier adjacent.
I've only seen interviews. I haven't actually seen him act in anything else.
Yeah, I wonder if he has a similar sort of method to like Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, there's not many people that can pull off that kind of facial acting in Hollywood without just immediately being written off as, you know, an overactor, like another Gene Wilder or whatever, like just getting put in a category and sort of passed over for a load of shit. Yeah. I just think from the top, and I'm not going to say this a million times, he is absolutely fucking perfect in this film. Untouchable. There's not a single moment that I don't think, oh, you're fucking revolting. Like, you're so scary.
Yeah.
It's a kind of menace that I find extra upsetting. Just all that facial stuff. My God, and I know that historically we're sort of predisposed to fear the mime and the harlequin and the jester, the japester, but he's so unhinged. And in this one, he is, as far as we know, just a psycho.
Yeah.
So he's a human psycho, and that's even fucking scarier. When you see how few boundaries he has, when he starts doing things to people, oh boy, does it ratchet up the fear factor. I'm guessing you don't think he's quite as scary as I do because, first of all, I'm a wuss, and second of all, you're not really a fan at all of any kind of scary clown trope.
I'm not a fan of it. I like the scary clown trope. I just don't. It just doesn't scare me.
Right.
Like, I think we've talked about it before. It would scare me in person if I'm walking down the street and there's a clown sort of standing still 25 feet away from me. Like I'm crossing the road.
Yeah.
And that's something that maybe these people in these movies need to learn.
Can you imagine how quickly you'd fucking leave if you saw him anywhere near you? It's a restaurant they're in, right? When they're drunk, they're trying to sober up. And
yeah, it's like a pizza shop, right?
Yeah. I would run through the fucking wall to get away from that guy. Oh my shit. I wouldn't say a word. I would just be sprinting. If I was with a friend or a partner, they would be dust. They would be left there. Yeah. I would be gone.
A question that is a thing that bugs me.
Yeah.
And maybe this should be for the third section, but in the second one, they have all these sort of sketches of Art the Clown, and it's like these are the police sketches of this clown, but like there's literal photos on the girl's phone.
Yeah.
So why do we need those? Whatever.
One of many questions you can ask and answer yourself in our section on Terrifier 2.
Yeah.
I also, sticking to the bits that fuck me up most, or the things that art does that I think are most amazing. When he's just creeping around, following people, when he reveals any object in his hand that he's about to use or do something with, when he fucking saws her in half. Oh, there's just too much.
Yeah, I think
he eats a woman's face, dude. It's fucking awful.
I think the sawing in half scene is really magically delivered. Like,
God, it's hard work. Fucking hell.
It is hard work, but most of that work is in your brain. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
and there's a lot of audio work there.
Well,
yeah, heavy lifting, but yeah.
I think it's just really artfully handled. Like, it's not Terrence Malick.
Considering what's happening, yeah.
It's not Terrence Malick or anything, but like, it almost feels like the shower scene in Psycho. Like, you actually really don't see all that much up until like the end of it, and you know exactly what's happening all the way through, but you're only seeing flashes for a moment of like, and your brain is doing all of the work. Well, like you say, helped along by the Foley, but like your brain's doing a lot of that work, and that's I think that's really cool. And like, there is nothing in this that doesn't look amazing.
Yeah, there's so many great shots. The lighting is incredible. There's just
even like historically, like head prosthetics have been terrible in movies. Like, it's been a balloon with a face drawn on it or whatever, a watermelon with a face on it. Like, these are that's a thing that's really hard to get right, but like, they all look incredible.
Yeah. And it's not played for laughs either. It's not like, okay, we don't really have the money to do this well, let's just fucking blow up this mannequin and just be honest about it.
Yeah.
But and his makeup as well, it's worth saying that's a part of the huge fear factor for me. Like, it just looks so much like classic horrible grease paint. The gums, the fucking tiny hat, like, it's all just so upsetting.
Yeah, I don't really buy that as a thing that a serial killer would do. Like, it just
not even on Halloween.
No, I think
Halloween.
That's just a real movie thing for me. Like, if I was gonna kill people, I would just do it. I don't need to put on a little special outfit and then wear it for the rest of my afterlife or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like,
but I like the psychopathy of that. It's not practical. You're right. It doesn't necessarily help, but there is a layer of almost superhuman psychopathy to the killer that will also want to scare the living fuck out of you before you die. Want to dress in a way that makes your soul shrivel and recoil from your body, especially when it's him and he's not physically imposing necessarily. He's sharp and angular and thin and wiry and lean, and that just being killed by like human clown gristle is something that makes my sphincter pucker.
Yeah, like, it's like people might point to, I don't know, John Wayne Gacy and be like, well, he was a serial killer who was dressed as a clown, but like, he wasn't dressed as a clown when he was killing people.
No, and fucking hell was he scary.
Like, yeah, he was scary as a dude though, as well as a clown.
Yeah.
But like, he wasn't a killer clown, he was a clown. He was a killer that worked as a clown.
It was also a fucking kid's party clown. Yeah. Super scary.
That's the scary part about it. It's not that he's dressing up as a clown and stalking the mean streets of Wisconsin or whatever it was. Like,
no, and it was, wasn't it Chicago? I think it was.
Yeah.
But that's what I also love that scares the heck out of me about Art the Clown in this movie is you don't see him out of makeup. You don't see him go back to his apartment and wash it off and go work his job in an office or whatever. He is just, for one night only, king of the fucking slash massacre clown boys. Like, he's such a creepy solo blank slate individual with no fucking dialogue. Freaks me the fuck out.
I tell you what freaks me out more so than anything else in the movie.
What?
I love it when a slasher killer uses a gun.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's because it's just like you never see it. Like, the idea that like he just shoots a woman in the face. It's just like, oh yeah, that's a thing that you can do, and it's way more realistic than everything else because it's like that's probably what being shot in the face looks like.
Yeah, and I love that it builds to the gun use as well. Like, we have all this inventive, creepy, horrible, rusty shit going on, like bags of hammers and all kinds of crap. But then just whipping out the gun, it's so well placed, it's really funny. Plus, he fucking blows his own brains out. What more do you want from your slasher killer?
Yeah.
What a guy.
Yeah.
I love him. I just never want to see him again. Again, I know I said I wouldn't say this more than once, but I'm so pumped about 3 because the only thing you could do for me here, really, is move him to Christmas. Or, like, blast him into outer space, maybe. But fuck me.
That's coming.
Art the Clown at Christmas. I couldn't fucking believe my eyes. I thought it was like a mock-up of some, like, joke movie when I saw the cover art. It must have been years ago now, right? They announced this a long time ago.
I mean, the second one only came out 2 years ago, so I think it was probably, like, mid last year.
I just thought they can't. They're not. Oh, they are. Incredible.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to tell you any spoilers on Terrifier 3. Another thing that I think that is really great about the characterization of art and the violence in the movie is nothing is ever really too easy. And that's one of the big things in, like, the Friday the 13th movies is, like, one swish of the machete and everyone's faces are coming off. Whereas, like, he is hacking people's necks. And that makes it, again, funny because it's like there's work involved in murdering people, but also like much more violent because, like, if it takes 3 whacks to get someone's head off, that's 3 whacks that you've got to watch.
Yeah, he has these really earnest reactions to how difficult things are as well, like those little shrugs and those funny faces he makes during and after, like whoops, that kind of thing is really funny to me. But yeah, and people are fighting back. He's not having an easy time of it. He's not a big, strong, hulking, supernatural killer at this point. He's just a guy dressed like a fucking lunatic, trying to kill you with a rusty spoon. Like, oh, there's something really also extra unnerving for me about how medieval he comes across.
Well, he's got a flail. Like,
yeah, exactly right. I find the medieval period really terrifying and frightening for a number of reasons, but he just feels like such a throwback. Like he's literally traveled through time to Halloween to just start murdering these women. It's an ageless kind of evil that I absolutely love, and because it's not explained in this movie at all, really, we don't get we can guess and we can pick up hints based on some weird behavior. But for the most part, this guy has had some kind of ancient evil awakened in him, and off he pops. And I just like to imagine that he's time traveled from the medieval period in this movie, like he was some psycho king's court jester gone wrong, and he went through a fucking Evil Dead portal and popped out and started killing.
I mean, that's
all ruined by the second one.
I think that sounds great, but I mean, I think that kind of isn't ruined by the second one because I think that kind of is what happens in the second one, but. I have an important question for you, Sam.
Yeah.
Do you think that they ran out of budget towards the end so they couldn't afford a sandwich for the morgue scene and therefore had to have a big long conversation about eating sandwiches in the morgue as opposed to just doing it?
I would love to think that, but I think it's actually exactly what we love. It's a very self-aware sandwich morgue conversation. Like it's exactly what you would do if you made a movie, right? You'd either do that or have the biggest sandwich in the world. It'd be one of the two.
Yeah. I'd just like balance it on the guy's big toe or whatever. Like,
yeah. That morgue scene is fucking horrible as well. It's, oh boy. It's all hits, no shits. Do you think this movie is weak in any way? I know you don't trumpet particularly hard about this movie, but is there anything that you think is stinky?
I don't really like the Vicky like makeup.
Okay.
Maybe it's just because we linger on it for quite a long time and we come back to it quite a lot, and it's showed in, like, you know, daytime TV interview studio lighting. So like it would be very difficult to make that work.
What, so you think it looks too?
I just don't.
What, too fake?
I don't think it looks fake. I just think it looks not good.
Right.
I don't quite know how to quantify it because I don't think it looks bad. I just think it doesn't look good.
Does it remind you of anything? Have you seen anything like it in another movie or?
No, it sort of makes me think about, like, I don't know, it just sort of looks like a plastic mask.
Yeah, it's got a strange textural quality to it that looks like it would sort of rub off if you.
Yeah.
It's one of those. I don't know if other people get this, but when I see certain textures in makeup, I kind of want to touch it straight away, and that looks a bit wet. It looks a little bit like it might not be ready.
I mean, it could be very, very anatomically accurate based on, like, extensive reconstructive surgery or whatever. But
Yeah.
I just think it doesn't work for me for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's interesting. It was so shocking to me, I didn't even evaluate the quality of the effect. I was just like, fuck off, like immediately looking away from the screen. The eye really upset me. Like,
Yeah.
it's for sure an acquired taste.
I think if you were in Vicky's shoes, would you go on the
Yeah.
television?
I have to be honest, probably not.
Do you think
No.
do you think that Vicky goes on the television and she's already like gone insane? Or do you think that hearing this woman be really horrible about her is like tips her over the edge?
Well, that's what I don't really understand. I don't really understand any of the Terrifier movie universe lore from the moment she reappears. I do think she's already insane at that point, based on my understanding of the second movie. But I also don't think this is in any way leaping ahead, but I don't understand what kind of evil forces are at play in Terrifier's world. So I don't know if she goes insane and then things get supernatural, or if supernatural stuff makes her insane. I don't fully understand.
I don't really know either.
Yeah.
The lore, I think, and we'll get into this when we talk about Terrifier 2 in a minute, but the lore is interesting to me, and I like that the lore exists.
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of the fundamental difference between the first one and the second one, is that like the second one is a movie and the first one is a collection of gore scenes.
Which is weird because normally I am all about character-driven horror.
Yeah.
I'm normally the guy that's like, oh, those characters didn't seem very real. But this time around, I think Art the Clown is such a showstopper and a scene stealer and a character study in himself that this first one doesn't need fucking anything but victims. It just needs grist for the mill. And that's what you get, bud. You get chum and chuck and grindage. And it's fucking exquisite.
Yeah, there's no final girl, there's no narrative through line. There's some characters in a place for a reason, and they all get mushed into a pulp.
And he writes his name in shit on a wall.
Yeah.
What more do you want, movie viewing public? Plus, when he's walking around in the alley with his fucking... Plus, how good is it? It's a trash bag.
Yeah, the trash bag really
plastic
makes it.
fucking trash bag. Oh, I'm getting scared thinking about it. I'm getting scared picturing those scenes. That's how much this movie got under my skin.
That's so weird because he's like literally behind you right now.
Hate it. Fucking hate it. He's so Moorish to look at as well. He's a chewy looking guy. You just want to chew on those cheeks.
It's just because like the performance, I think, really sells that. Like the physicality of it is good. Like he has that sort of presence, but
Yeah.
he also, like, the way that he moves his face within the mask. Like we talked about this when we talked about Psycho Goreman. Like there's a lot of work to do between your face and the space outside of the makeup. So
God, yes.
in order to really be able to sell those things, it's really impressive.
It should not go without saying that just putting on that outfit doesn't make you scary. You can see it in the previous efforts. There's a different dude playing Art the Clown in the All Hallows Eve and stuff. And he's good, he's fine, he does a good job, but there is an almost transcendently terrifying aspect to this man's face and the way that he uses it. And it's not just makeup, it's assisted by it. It's definitely, augments the terror, but not everyone can just turn their head like that and be scary. He has to put so much energy into that performance and so much effort and so much darkness. Can you imagine how hard it is to fucking inhabit that place as a performer, as an artist, to be Art the Clown? You're essentially the most fucked up dude ever.
Yeah.
There's no limit really to what that guy will do. And it takes you to some pretty dark places, I imagine.
Yeah, I think like Mike Giannelli in the short films and in All Hallows Eve, which are the short films but with some augmented additional scenes.
Yeah.
I think he is good. If you think about the trajectory between, say, Terrifier and Terrifier 2, where Terrifier, Art the Clown, is a psycho man, and Terrifier 2, he's a demonic force inhabiting the corpse of a clown.
Yeah.
Then that sort of makes sense to me that like Mike Giannelli basically is the man, and David Howard Thornton is like almost like the real demonic version.
Yeah, sure.
That's sort of how it plays in my mind. I love that we get a workshop scene at the beginning of this movie, like the original Nightmare on Elm Street. Like,
Yeah,
such a
grabbing all the
homage.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and it feels Raimi in the way that you want it to. It feels Nightmare on Elm Street in the way you want it to. But it just goes further.
Yeah.
He looks way scarier than anything in either of those movie franchises. And yeah, just the idea of him getting ready in that horrible place.
Yeah.
God, it fucking creeps me out.
All right, Sam.
Yeah.
Why don't we take a break, come back and talk about Terrifier 2?
Good idea. We've had enough fun for one day. Let's... Right, BRB, you've got to have a quick lunchable.
Come on, man. Does that thing even work? No. There's nothing out there. It's just dead air.
Okay, Sam, I am picking up directly at the end of our last review because that's what we do in the Terrifier franchise.
We do.
I love Terrifier 2. I think it's way better than Terrifier.
And I'm happy for you.
I think
The end.
I think the lore is really fun. So, brief synopsis on Terrifier 2. Art the Clown is back. He is awoken at the end of Terrifier by some sort of demonic force, and now he's an unstoppable killer back from the dead. At the end of the first movie, he shoots himself in the mouth, and, now he's alive again. He's brought back, by the spooky little clown girl, who I think is way scarier than Art the Clown, to be honest.
You're just trying to upset me, and it's gonna work.
I think the clown, the little clown girl, is way scarier as a concept and as a presence.
Yeah. Carry on.
One of my favorite pieces of David Howard Thornton art acting is when he's back from the dead and he's surprised by it, and he's looking at himself in the mirror.
It's really funny, yeah.
And he's just like, oh my God, I'm alive. Why are they?
But that's useful in a narrative sense for me, because I'm the person going, why and how, why? And he doesn't fucking know. So why should we? That's a great react. Yeah, you're right. It's fucking comedic as hell. But he's also like, oh, now I have to do shit. I gotta piece myself back together and get out there. It's really fun.
Yeah. I read an interview with David Howard Thornton where he talks about how the character of Art wasn't aware that he was coming back to life, and now is like, oh shit, I'm immortal. So he's much cockier in Terrifier 2. I think I
read the same thing. He gets more arrogant.
Yeah,
and that's a great way to explain why in the sequel he's just going bigger all the time.
Yeah,
he's just doing worse shit harder. Swagger. What could make that clown scarier? I know, immortality and fucking boundless arrogance. That's such a swing.
Yeah. I want to know what he's been up to for a year.
Yeah, a year has passed, which is interesting, right?
Yeah.
It's the following Halloween at this point.
I want to know what he's been doing. Where's he been? Has he just been at the bottom of Crystal Lake? What's going on?
Yeah, lurking, brooding.
Is he like, oh, I can't go out because it's not Halloween yet, and people will be like, you're a clown, go to prison.
Go immediately to jail. Could be. Oh, you're that clown. Jail time. Yeah, maybe. I don't know how much inner logic there is to Art the Clown at this point, but I do love to imagine him just fucking creeping around for a year. One of the scariest things about Jason to me is how much creeping around he does.
Yeah.
I imagine him out in the woods watching, there's something about that silent, dormant evil that I find maybe underutilized. We don't get to see enough of it, apart from Your Boy and Mine in A Violent Nature. Plenty in that.
Of course.
But I do love the idea of Art the Clown just fucking lurking, simmering, building. Maybe he needs a lot of murderous energy to pull off these Halloween massacres, and he genuinely needs to, feast on fucking raw calves liver or something to build up to it. Could be a thing.
What I love seeing him do is, more so than lurking, is washing his outfit.
Yeah. Again, how funny is it that he's going to go to a laundrette and wash his clothes?
And then, mop up, but also just leave a bloody corpse there.
Yeah, folding his... Yeah, exactly. I think it is worth saying, and I want to say... I want to say everything we can about the little girl in as little time as possible. But one thing I do want to say about her is that when she shits herself in that laundrette, that is, and I remember I went back and read our texts when I watched this. I still think that's the funniest thing I've ever seen in a horror movie. It's the best.
So why doesn't the little girl work for you?
It feels glued on, completely unnecessary, and to me, not even remotely scary. She's fun to look at. Her glowing eyes are brilliant. She does some brilliant facial acting. I'm taking nothing away from the performance. I think, all things considered, I'd be reticent to even offer a single criticism about how she portrays that character, that role. But it's completely defunct to me, and all it does is knock a little edge off. All the second movie does to me is take away from art. He's on screen less. He's watered down, and his edges are slightly buffed by these other superfluous characters and their stupid storylines.
I don't
She
think
is
that's true
interesting.
at all. I think
I know. We
think
texted about it.
literally the idea of him shoving mashed potato into the exploded face of their mum. Like, what edge has been dulled on that? Come on now.
Don't get me wrong. I'm going to go as far as say maybe the best bit in the second movie. That mum's fucking head. Oh, again, don't need to see it again. Still remember it clearly. Yeah, so I don't, in the same way that you don't find clowns scary, I don't find children or little girls or the little ghost kids. It just doesn't frighten me in the slightest. I see why she's there, kinda. I don't really understand her. I just don't think it adds anything.
So
and for me, at this point, you have to be fucking careful with your Art the Clown because he's already so incredibly terrifying. If you start fucking with the formula, shit's gonna fall off. And I think she's cool to watch, she's fun, but ultimately diminishes the sheer, unadulterated, blood-curdling mayhem that I associate with art.
So, like, the vibe is meant to be that she is the demonic force that has brought him back, and she is using...
Made like human form, yeah.
Yeah, using the body of this dead girl from 4 years ago that Art killed.
Yeah, and she's invisible to other people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Apart from Jonathan and Sienna.
Of course. Yeah, our new protagonists, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine.
I like Jonathan and Sienna as characters. The guy that plays Jonathan isn't the greatest actor.
He's a cool guy, though, right? Apparently.
Yeah.
He's a punk.
I can believe that.
Loves the punk music.
But I think that Lauren Lavera as Sienna is great. I think her two little mates are really good. What they call Brooke and Ali. Like, I think the performances in the second one are genuinely good.
I would say yes. But I find it hard to credit a good performance when it doesn't need to be there. I don't know. I had this really very acute sensation watching this second movie that if all of that was cut by 45 minutes, it would be close to being as good as the first one. I found all the magic sword, angel girl, dead dad, diary bullshit to be tedious and just wholly unnecessary. And then I read later that he got loads of criticism for the first one because he didn't have any fleshed out, believable characters. And I thought, wow, then that's what you did with the second one, is just sort of try and please everyone and make this fleshed out family. It just seems,
I think,
not to be mean.
The thing that is interesting to me about the second one is that we have characters and we're moving it into sort of a magical place. We've sort of skipped, the shit second Nightmare on Elm Street, and we've jumped straight to Dream Warriors.
Same with Halloween, right? We've skipped 2.
Yeah.
Just a boring drunk hospital movie, and we've gone straight to the craziest movie ever. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I really respect it as a swing. I don't think necessarily it was just to try and please everyone, but I do think that like it just does some way, way, way more interesting stuff. Like they parcel out the lore in a way that I think is really interesting. They do it over the next movie as well. They're almost treating it like a TV series. Like they're like if you think about like Lost, they're teasing out little bits in between, or even like, did you ever watch the TV show Burn Notice? I watched it because Bruce Campbell was on it, and like it's quite good. But like it would be like a Monster of the Week type show, except it was about spies, and there'd be like, I don't know, 3 minutes at the beginning and 6 minutes at the end that were just designed to move the actual main character plot along, and everything in
Sure.
between was them solving whatever spy based problem that they had that week.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the format. I think that's what the format's going to be moving forward in Terrifier movies, is that like we want to see some of this plot resolve, but also the bulk of the movie is going to be art mashing things up. There's maybe a little bit too much of the stuff where I like the lore and I like the gore, but like there are some scenes where we don't get lore and we don't get gore. We just get characters doing stuff.
Yeah, and that's the worst.
And I don't love that. And also, like, I think I don't like the clown cafe scene. Like, I think it's cool.
I thought you liked that.
I think it's cool in isolation, but like, what is it bringing? What are we bringing from this? Like, what are we? Why?
That's a big question, and I feel like maybe I'm a little bit harsh on this movie, and I asked that question way too much because I didn't have to once in the first movie. I think that's so. My whole problem with this movie can be summed up really easily. The first movie is because, and the second movie is why, which is the wrong way around. Yeah. So the first movie exists as a beautifully brutal piece of punishing horror with lots of really clever original ideas and fucking envelope pushing to the absolute max. The second one then seeks to explain it all when it just absolutely doesn't need to. And it feels kind of cowardly to go back and be like, well, here's why. And it's nonsense because you're adding explanation to something after you've already fully realized it, which is exactly how Lost feels when they start explaining, you know, again, things that were cool and scary are now over-explained, verbose nonsense. And that is how you unravel something completely, I think.
Yeah, it's the Stephen King ending trap. Like,
yeah, for sure. The mystery was fun. Now we know everything. None of it makes sense.
Yeah.
And I just don't need to go through that family at all. I just don't need them to exist. I don't care about them one tiny drop in the ocean. I just want them to be mashed.
Well, see, that's our fundamental difference there, I think, because I like
Definitely.
I like the character, and I like that we're in sort of a weird fantasy horror sort of phantasm situation rather than just like straight up, you know, hostile territory like with the first one.
The angel thing is just so piss weak. I just can't.
She's not an angel. She's a Valkyrie. It's a different thing.
Valkyrie, even better. Yeah, don't like it.
I mean, she's not a Valkyrie. She's just she's got a sword, and her dad drew a picture of her wearing a special outfit that she then made into a Halloween costume.
All that shit can get to fuck in the toilet, but somehow I don't think it ruins the movie necessarily. I think art still comes out. You still want more art.
Yeah.
How much art can you take?
Yeah, I think like there are two parts of the movie or two things in the movie that I think hurt it for me. One of them is that like there's the one thing really is that Terrifier sign on the ride at the old carnival is one of the worst things I've ever seen. It's just like terrible.
Why don't you like that?
It's because it's like terrible CGI.
Oh yeah, I suppose, yeah. That didn't leap out too much at me, but now you mention it, yeah, I was focused way too much on the human factors, I guess.
Yeah, and then there's just like the whole climax, or what you feel like is the climax when you're watching it.
It's like 4 years long.
Yeah, it really, really drags, and then it ends, and you're like, okay, cool, and then there's still 20 minutes of movie left to go.
I just can't believe, compared to the first one, how taut and merciless the pacing is in the first one. They just got it so jank in this. Even the scene in the costume shop at the beginning, it lacks the bite of the restaurant scene in the first one, which obviously it's supposed to be working on / with.
Yeah.
Because it's paced so bizarrely and it's so protracted and lengthened, and yeah, the same thing happens at the ending. I don't understand what's happening at the end, and I just completely check out, basically.
So I wanted to know if the room in the carnival, because the carnival is a working carnival, right? It's not an abandoned carnival.
Yeah, I wasn't even sure if the carnival was definitely real. But yes, let's go with it is a real carnival.
I think that it's real, but I don't know if it's working or not. But I saw there was like a pumpkin patch outside, and it was full of pumpkins, and presumably they don't just grow by themselves; they've got to be cultivated in some way.
Well, you might be surprised.
I mean, yeah, I've no idea.
You never seen a wild pumpkin?
I'm not a pumpkin farmer. Well, yeah, you might see a wild pumpkin, but they don't grow in a patch in a carnival. That's not a wild pumpkin, is it?
Not really. I think I'm going to go as far as say the carnival is working. It doesn't look to be in horrible disrepair. It looks like it's just not running at Halloween.
Well, that's what I thought. And then but there's an Art the Clown room in the funhouse, right?
So that's what made me wonder about reality in this movie. Like, what's real, what's demonic, what's hallucinatory, what's an MDMA school dance, what's happening?
Yeah, like I was confused by that. I wondered if like it meant that that's his special room where he does all of his carnival killing, or whether Art the Clown as a concept exists in myth and story in Miles County. And
well, he does, because he killed people last year, and they took pictures of him, and he was on TV, right?
Yeah, but they don't. Would you then make a room in your scare attraction that's solely based on him with his name on the wall?
Some people might.
Because he hasn't killed anyone in that room in this movie, so where's all that blood come from? Like, they must have...
Splash blood everywhere.
Yeah, is that room a fabricated room that's part of the scare attraction, or is it just like a secret room where he does all of his little killing?
Yeah, I mean, so I guess in fairness, the part of the carnival that is the Terrifier part is only the Terrifier part by name on the outside, right? There's no actual picture of Art the Clown on the outside, and then once you're inside, it gets Art the Clowny.
Only in that one room, though. There's like the rest of it is fairly normal. I mean,
Right.
it's fairly normal scare attraction. There's the giant rat that jumps out the wall or whatever that creature is.
Yeah, that's good fun. Don't know. I think the movie is for me something that's so laser focused and so sharp, and it literally like a fucking meat tenderizer in the first one. Precision, brutality, all of it. In the second one, there's too much, doesn't quite work. And you can't afford to have doesn't quite work with an evil guy like this, because you need to be 100% convinced of the simplicity of his intent, which is to mash you in the worst way possible and to make it theatrical and funny and clowny. And not everything in this movie serves that purpose, and therefore I think that stuff is a bit of a failure. But that's just my personal taste.
Yeah.
I just don't care about this fucking angel school dance bullshit. Get it out of Terrifier 2 and get it into Halloween 3 or whatever other swing for the fence. It's like Jason Goes to Hell. You love that too, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
But like, I think I just like a little sprinkling of magic in my horror.
You like what some people would call fun. You accused me of not liking fun for not liking Terrifier 2 as much as 1.
Yeah.
But that's probably true. I go to horror movies for horror primarily, and I don't need... first one was fun enough.
So why did you love Killer Clowns from Outer Space so much?
Because it's not really a horror movie at all. It's a fucking teen comedy, and that's my other favorite genre. Yeah,
so
don't know. I thought the kid was good.
A thing that I really like about Terrifier 2 is
that it's Army of Darkness.
No, is the really subtle fake film grain that they have on it. In the first one, it's a little bit not subtle. It's sort of like that grindhouse, like, oh, we've made it look like really jerky and filmy. So,
is it fake in the first one?
Yeah, they never shot any of it on film.
Okay.
And in this, I was like, this looks like film, and the way it sort of pulls out the oranges and the blues, the teals, that's a really sort of a thing that film does. So I was like, did they
got a bit of a fade on it?
Yeah, I was like, did they film this on actual film? And I looked it up, and they didn't. That is a digital effect that they added afterwards, but it's so subtle. It's not like I'm watching Hobo with a Shotgun.
No.
And I feel beaten around the face with the fact that I'm meant to be thinking that this is from the early 80s. It just feels like a real movie. As a result, it feels like an actual film that someone took some time over.
I think the trick that makes that work is that it makes everything look better. There's not bits where you're like, oh no, that looks shit. with this filming style. Even the stuff that feels incongruous, like when they're, when there's phones in shot, for example, like really modern stuff, still looks cool. And it works especially well with the type of blood that they use, I think, because it's such B-movie blood, so unapologetically beautifully B-movie. It enhances all those kind of peachy tones. It washes everything in blue when it needs to. I think it serves the existing visuals in the movie really well.
Yeah. I still can't really get over you saying that like they filed down some of the harsher edges off art here.
No, I don't think they did that. I think everything else in the movie is pulling screen time from him and taking away from his constant menace. It's
Okay.
just, it sillifies him a little bit, having this, this oh, my dad drew a picture and now I'm an angel. Like,
She's not an angel. It's never an angel.
What is she then?
She's a girl with has seen a picture. That's all she is.
What's she dressed as then? What's that?
She's dressed as a Valkyrie.
Okay, what's a Valkyrie?
Like, I don't know. Is a Valkyrie an angel?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
Well, she's not an angel.
I don't mean in any way that the film has softened art and said, oh, we don't want him to be as violent in this. He's probably more violent in a lot of ways.
He literally at one point cuts someone up and then goes and gets a big thing of salt. And then literally just spends 10 minutes rubbing salt into her wounds.
Chucking it all over him. Yeah, superb. But I just think the more teen drama you have and the more family bullshit you feed in there, I can see why for some people maybe it makes art worse because the juxtaposition is so stark. This innocent little boy kind of thing. But for me, it's less of him and therefore less of the menace.
Well, I just think like it's more interesting and more horrible to see him kill actual people rather than just like stab mannequins that occasionally say words. Do you know what I mean?
I think a lot of people probably agree with you because that was most people's problem with the first one and most of the reason people seem to roundly prefer the second one. It's not what I wanted out of this particular movie movie evil. And normally it would be. So I think that's testament to just how standalone he is as a killer and how little magic he needs. I just don't need him to be magic. I don't understand why you would do that to him.
A big problem that I had with Terrifier 2 is there's a moment where Sienna's mate says that she eats Count Chocula on a regular basis. And that's a fucking lie because you can only get it around Halloween.
Is that true? You can only get it around Halloween?
Yeah.
Like Reese's bats.
Yeah. And
which look so far from anything like a bat, it's almost ridiculous.
Yeah, like all of those General Mills cereals, they're only for Halloween.
They only fire up the mill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Maybe she bulk buys, Jamie. Don't yuck her yum.
I'll yuck
her bum.
I'll break her arm off.
You don't need to. The gore in Terrifier 2 is more sophisticated than Terrifier, I think. It's way more ambitious. Its execution is far more cartoonishly graphic, I guess.
Yeah, I think again, it sits. There's like a cartoon level and a real level, and they're always butting up against each other, and that's one of the real magic things. I think is just like those two things.
Very uncomfortable viewing, seeing something that is so graphic and upsetting, especially with placement quite often. Like when the mum's head is fully blasted open, she's sitting at the dinner table. Like,
yeah.
She's not in a grisly warehouse surrounded by chains. Yuck. Ouch.
All right, well, let's stop talking about Terrifier 2 for a minute, take a little break, and we'll come back and we'll just sort of chat around both of them.
Okay, be right back.
Be back.
Will you give it up, man? Nobody's out there. We're alone. Oh no, there's somebody out there. I'm picking up all this crosstalk.
Yeah, sorry. I'm back. Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. I thought we were already back.
Oh, easy, Tiger. So the two, how do they work together for you?
I like them both. I would say equally, but for different reasons. Probably for the same reasons that you like the first one more and maybe like the second one less. Like I think They do operate in different spaces. I think the idea of taking Art the Clown and putting him in almost a different genre is much more interesting to me than just doing the same thing again. I feel like if there was a world where they made Terrifier 2 and it was just Terrifier 1, but there were different people that he was killing, we would be sitting here having a conversation like, fucking, they just did it again. Boring. We've seen that. So
Essentially.
like taking his particular brand of violent murder and putting it in a different genre, also like answering, you know, why he's still alive or whatever. And the idea that, you know, maybe he's their dad, maybe he's not their dad. They never really get to the bottom of that. I think adding a bit of mystery in there is fun.
Why is his head born out of that lady yet? I just remember that happens.
Because of reasons that I can't tell you because there might be a spoiler.
Right. Okay, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. We can run with that. I think hypothesizing about what kind of conversation we'd be having if there wasn't any magic in the second Terrifier is definitely the best use of our time as adult virgins. But one thing I do think is you could have done almost anything with him and it would have been scary. But I do think there's ways that it could have been scarier. And I think removing the magic and the nonsense could have made it scarier. You could have had him, you know, even just having him stalking a school dance is enough for me. Holy cow, true slasher, you know, back to basic shit. But yeah, I like the escalation from the first to the second in terms of the gore and the set pieces and obviously the budget. But yeah, everything I've already said about not liking the second one stands. I'm fucking so excited to watch the third though, because it feels to me like big win, big flop, massive triumph. That's normally how it goes, right? 1, 2, 3. The old 1, 2, 3 punch.
I mean,
jab, hook, uppercut.
I really liked the third one. I'm not going to go into any detail as to why, because I know that
just put him at Christmas and I'm basically happy. You can fucking bring in all the magic bullshit you want. You can bring in is he his dad? You know, make it into a soap opera as much as you want. It's art at Christmas. I'm excited.
Yeah, I had some problems with it. They were problems that maybe you maybe wouldn't have.
Okay. Would you recommend I watch it at the cinema if I can?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good.
I recommend that you watch it 2 weeks ago.
Home, you know? Yeah, I just didn't know it was out. I assumed it was coming out at Christmas. I don't know what's wrong with me.
It's Halloween, buddy.
I know.
That's when the horror
Happy
films
Halloween,
come out.
by the way.
Yeah, thanks.
So these two movies, maybe not the scariest movies of all time, maybe not the goriest movies of all time, but quite possibly some of the most, you know, fucking envelope-pushing success stories going.
Yeah.
Like, for a movie this gory, this graphic, and this no holds barred in terms of destroying everything that America holds dear, you know, it takes a huge steaming dump on everything. Family values, linear narrative, any kind of sense of discretion or moderation, and just explodes the entire thing 1,000 times over. Is it surprising to you that they're as successful as they are?
I do wonder, like, what it was that made this breakthrough.
And
like, I think it's really interesting that, like, Damien Leone made a short film in 2008 with Art the Clown. Was like, there's something here. Made another one. Was like, okay, there's still something here. Made that feature All Hallows Eve, and was like, I could keep going. I could keep riding this till it's actually properly successful. People are telling me that we love Art the Clown, so I shouldn't just leave him here and move on and do something else. And so, like, and that paid off dividends, because, like, the first one was successful enough for them to make the second one. The first one cost what, $35,000. This one cost $250,000.
Oh, I thought it was more than that. Is it the third one that was in the millions, like $2 million?
Yeah, that's right.
Worldwide gross 15 million, and yet they're still crowdfunding. It's interesting.
I think the crowdfunding was part of the marketing.
Okay.
So they crowdfunded to do some extra stuff. I think the Clown Cafe was a result of the crowdfunding.
Okay.
Because a lot of the people that bought their way into the movie via the crowdfunding were in that one scene.
Well, that explains a lot. Yeah. Okay.
I like the clown cafe scene. I just think I don't like it in the context of the movie. Like, I think it
Yeah, because I remember you defending it. You said that you really liked it, and I said it was, and I'm going to quote myself here, not particularly favorably, a complete fucking waste of my time, which I feel maybe was a little excessive.
It doesn't answer any questions. It makes me ask a lot more questions that don't necessarily have very interesting answers.
Yeah.
Which I guess is your problem with the whole second movie.
You summed up the whole movie. Yeah, for sure.
Whereas I feel differently about it, as we've said. But like that one scene, like the idea that there's a spooky place in the liminal space where children and adults exist in a state of suspended animation, and a clown can come in and just oozy everybody. What I do like about that actually is that, like, we know it's a dream, or it's meant to be a dream. And we have dream logic, but it also brings in all the stuff that she like sees before she's falling asleep. So it's her brain internalizing that nun with a fucking Uzi and stuff.
Yeah.
So like, I like that. I think that's really cool, but it doesn't really do anything apart from have a song that gets stuck in my head.
Yeah, the song is catchy. The banjo's fun. Again, it seems weird to say this, but that obviously cost a lot of money. I think it cheapens the movie. Doesn't look good.
Well, like I say, I think that's what they paid for with the crowdfunding money.
Right.
But like I say, I think the crowdfunding was part of the marketing. I think like you get a bunch of people to buy into the movie, and then they have to go see it. Do you know what I mean? And then they have to tell all their friends about it because they bought into it. So like it's all about getting that word of mouth stuff. I think like a lot of crowdfunding is basically marketing for the product.
Right.
There's a lot of like when fucking, you know, really big like famous people are crowdfunding, like you don't need the crowdfunding. So there's got to be.
I just think they're tight. like Whoopi Goldberg. Wait, what? When was the last time Whoopi Goldberg crowdfunded something? Where's that come from?
Where has that come from?
I'm going to look it up. Did Whoopi Goldberg crowdfund something?
No, she's too busy being on the fucking View.
Is she even alive?
Yeah, she's on The View. She's a host on The View, which is like...
What's The View?
It's like American Loose Women.
Okay, in 2012, Whoopi Goldberg did a Kickstarter to finish producing her documentary. All my references are rooted firmly in 2012.
All your references are rooted in you guessing something and it happening to be true.
Yeah, so Whoopi Goldberg did actually crowdfund a documentary in 2012.
Whoopi Goldberg could just walk into Universal offices and be like, hello, see this face? It's Whoopi Goldberg's face. Can I have $10,000, please? Like, how much money do you need to make a documentary?
I don't know, quite a lot, I guess. Depends what it's about.
Depends what it's about. If she was going to make, you know, American movie, then that probably cost tuppence to make, right?
Yeah. Tuppence for Americans is 2 pence, in case you're wondering. Who cares? This is going to get cut out anyway. So Terrifier 1 and 2 exist up until recently in a vacuum, gagging for a third. Third movie's out. I've just checked Cinema Times. I'm going to go see it in the week. What a time to be alive. Thrice the Terrifier?
Yeah, and it's going to keep going as well. Like, it's going to keep chugging up until it loses all of its shine, I think.
Yeah. Do you think it's a property that he's keen to build and sell? Is it going to be like Blumhouse is going to buy Terrifier and then we're going to have endless fucking Blumhouse Terrifiers?
So I think that Damien Leone is quite shrewd in what he's trying to do.
Right.
Like, we know that he has good ideas and we know that he has a lot of affection for Art the Clown.
Yeah.
So I think that the future of Art the Clown is relatively safe. I think the big danger is that he Bruce Campbell's it, you know? He gets...
Well, there was hints of that in the second one. It started to feel a bit self-aware, like the Funhouse stuff you mentioned. I was worried that that's where it was going to go times a million.
Well, I don't think that the third one does that.
Okay.
But obviously your mileage may and very often does vary.
I think what's going to make everything perfect for you is that I've heard rumors that Terrifier 4 is a Western.
Have you really?
No. But imagine.
Like, how do you shoehorn an angel into the Western? That's what I want to know. She's not an angel.
Angels would... Yeah, whatever. Well, all right.
Angels with dirty faces. Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, then I realise it's not a Western. What is a Valkyrie? Well, speaking of varied mileage, I'm running out of mileage on Terrifier Uno and Due. Are you going to rate them What are you going to do next?
I don't. Do you want to rate them? Are we rating? I don't want to rate them because I don't want you to have a neggy rating on the second one.
What if I gave you a no honk guarantee on the second one?
Oh, okay. Then why don't you give me a rating on? Why don't you give me a rating as a unit for 1 and 2?
Oh, no, that's mean.
You said a no honk guarantee.
That's hard. Okay, if I'm rating them both together, which feels very mean, that feels like when you got paired up with a real dipshit at school and you had to do a fucking geography presentation, they did fuck all and you got downgraded because they were a complete fucking waste of space. That's what this feels like. I think I would give...
maybe not right.
What? I would give both Terrifier movies combined, feels wrong to even say that, 7.5 small children shitting themselves in a laundrette out of 10.
That's pretty high.
7 of those is the first one. What about you grisly bastard? What are you going to rate the Terrifier movies combined? Tag Team Terrifier, weighing in at a combined weight of probably 150 pounds. What are you rating them?
I am going to rate Terrifier 1 and Terrifier 2 as a unit 450,000 grains of salt out of 465,000 grains of salt.
Poured directly into your gaping wound.
Into the open slashed back of a young lady.
Ow,
Terrifier. When she's like still alive and her mum walks in and she's like, Mum. Oh,
yeah, there's so much of that. There's so much like, oh, it couldn't get any worse. Oh, then your mum walks in.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Story of my life, right?
In that situation, would you rather be the mum or the girl?
I'd rather be Art.
Well, obviously.
I'd rather be the... Wait, what happens to the mum?
Well, in that exact moment, would you rather be the mum walking in and seeing your daughter mangled to a pulp and about to die, or would you rather be about to die?
The closer I am to death, the better. I think I'd rather be the girl because, weirdly, back stuff in horror movies always looks like it feels good to me, because I've got such a fucked up back that just anyone giving it any attention, even when people are being bullwhipped by the side of a stagecoach, I think to myself, yeah, that'd be all right.
I don't think that's true because I think it would hurt and your back already hurts. So it'd be compounding hurt on her.
You never had that thing where something's so painful all the time that you just want someone to kick it really hard? Like when you've got a wobbly tooth when you're a kid, it hurts, but you just want to wiggle it all the time.
Yeah, no, I don't know about that.
People getting shot in the back with double-barreled shotguns is like, oh, bring it. Yes, please. I'll have a bit of that.
The double-barreled shotgun towards the end of Terrifier 2. I mean, obviously that's what he shoots their mum in the face with, which is
of course,
which is great. But like when that comes back, I just think it's just fun.
It is fun. You're right. I totally agree because it's Art doing it and there's no magic.
Well, it's Art when it comes back at the end. It's Art getting shot.
Yeah. Let's have a new rule.
Go on. What's the new rule?
No magic that explains. There can't be any like it's magic explanations. That's my new rule. Like you can't have something amazing and then have some dork be like, yeah, but why? And then say, well, it's magic. That's not allowed.
Okay, well, so...
It has to be abundantly clear it's magic from the beginning, or it can't be the reason.
But it is abundantly clear that it's magic from the beginning as soon as it started becoming magic.
That's not the beginning.
Well...
That's when the magic came in.
Well, yeah, but like, it couldn't be abundantly clear that it was magic before it was magic.
But it had to be always magic.
Why does it have to be always magic?
Because everything's magic, quote unquote, Tom DeLonge.
Okay, so...
Get your magic out of my horror.
Okay.
Is all I'm saying.
Let's talk about Friday the 13th, part 1.
What I love about what they could have done here is taken a leaf out of the Friday the 13th book and just had him be resurrected and have everyone go, why? And never answer it.
But...
It's where Halloween goes wrong with the fucking Cult of Thorn and all that complete nonsense. You're over-explaining something that was scary to begin with, and you didn't need to.
Okay, so how is Jason brought back in Friday the 13th, part 1?
Dunno.
Magic, right?
Dunno.
Okay, but it's got to be magic because it's not science, is it?
Could be science.
Okay.
He's lightning resurrected later. That's
Is that
pretty
science?
fucking
That's
scientific.
also magic.
Ask Dr. Frankenstein if that's scientific or not.
But so the killings that are taking place in the first Friday the 13th movie, as you and I well know, are not being committed.
Spoilers, easy, Tiger. Yeah.
Are not being committed by a resurrected person, and there is no magic involved. So the fact that he can continue to be resurrected afterwards via magic.
It's not magic. It's not necessarily magic. No, that's the point, though, isn't it? It could be magic, but nobody has to go, "Oh, look, magic."
Could it
nobody
be magic?
Has to, could be, but nobody has to point it out and walk around shouting about it for a whole movie, like expository magical dialogue. It just, if anything, it's a little bit frustrating they don't explain it more. I like it. I like it mysterious. It's the same as seeing the fucking werewolf or the dinosaur or the whatever the hidden evil is. They always have to show it. You could just leave it.
I think you're being purposefully obtuse when you are suggesting that you don't think that Jason coming back to life is magic.
I agree. It probably is magic, but we don't know because we're not told directly it's magic, are we?
No, but he's an unstoppable evil that can never die. It's probably magic. But it's not magic from the beginning because it happens basically at the end of the movie. So
well, he has to die for the magic, I guess, which is kind of the same in Terrifier. But there's just an implication that, yeah, don't know. It just feels, and the same criticism can be leveled at Friday the 13th, and I would do the same. First movie should have been a complete standalone, and there was no reason to then start trying to over-explain the resurrection of Jason, which thankfully they don't do. Whereas in Terrifier, they do. They over-magic it. Same in Halloween.
But I don't think they really talk too much about the resurrection of Art. It's all the other stuff. It's the psychic link between Laurie and Michael. Like it's all that stuff. That's the stuff that you really have a problem with, right?
Oh my god, yes. Yeah.
Like they don't really dig into why he's been resurrected or who's resurrecting him. All we know is that he's resurrected and there's a little creepy girl there.
And then it goes to Magic Town.
Yeah, I think the magic is like you say, or like I say, the late Halloween stuff.
Do you like any of the later Halloween movies, just out of interest? Since it is Halloween.
I do like them.
Yeah.
And that's all you're getting out of me, unless we do an episode on...
Okay. Don't make me watch them, please, Daddy. Don't make me watch them.
On the late Halloweens. Why don't we do... I think it's a fun experiment. Why don't we do the same movie 5 times in a row just to see if it gets any different after?
Yeah, okay.
We'll just do Halloween H2O 5 times.
Oh, roughage.
Buster.
By the way, we're talking about the later installments in the original series, not the reboots, whatever.
Yeah, I like
David
those.
Gordon Greens. I like those, yeah.
I was thinking more of the Rob Zombies, but sure.
Yeah. Let's not talk about him.
I mean, it's Halloween, so I will say that the Rob Zombies Halloween films, I think they're good.
What about his Friday the 13th?
He didn't do a Friday the 13th. That was Marcus Nispel.
Yeah, nearly got you.
But I really like the quote-unquote reboot of Friday the 13th because, like, it does the Evil Dead 2 thing of taking 10 minutes to, like, set up that it's a reboot and then is basically a sequel after that. And that's great.
I like those first 10 minutes.
I think the whole movie works. I think there are things in it that suck, but like, I think the whole movie as a piece works pretty well.
You know what sucks through that whole era of cinema? Hollywood's portrayal of potheads. Any stoner in a movie of that period is unwatchable.
Yeah.
It's so bad. The thing is, everyone's high. Why isn't anyone saying that's not very realistic?
Well, yeah, isn't it
Why
like
isn't anyone stopping this atrocity?
in the Friday the 13th movie that we covered? Was it 7?
Yeah, 7. Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so like everybody's smoking the reefer, but there's only one stoner,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, but you're all smoking weed. Why is
You're all baked.
Why is only one of you like, whoa, dude? Like,
Why has only one of you transitioned into full stonerdom?
wild.
Just so you know, kids, one toke and you're done.
Yeah,
You smoke one toke of that marijuana and you'll be the first stony jabroni to be decapitated.
Yeah, one toke over the line.
Just takes one toke, kids.
Do you know what else it takes one of?
One thumb.
One thumb. It just takes one.
Or two.
Yeah. One thumb to subscribe. The same thumb to follow us on our various social media accounts, TikTok and Instagram at FT Horror Show. That same thumb could then share any number of our pieces of content out to your friends and tell them all about the Final Transmission podcast and how they should be also listening to it. So you can decide whose side you're on. Are you team Sam, who doesn't enjoy good things, or are you team Jamie, who is, correct? It could go either way.
My advice, thumb your nose at Jamie and join Team No Fun. Tell your friends.
Team No Thumb.
No fun. Team No Thumbs. Yeah. Once you've worn your thumbs out, rating, reviewing, and sending our podcast to people, shove your thumb up your butt, you loser. Get out of here.
So take that thumb and hit the road. Hitchhike down the road.
See you later. I love to see your butt, hate to see your butt leaving, or whatever the expression is.
Yeah. I think that's exactly it.
Yep.
Happy Halloween, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful time this Halloween. If you knock on my door, I may or may not answer. But if you know where I live, keep it to yourself.
Keep it to yourself, mate. Happy Halloween, everyone. If you knock on my door, I'll be in Florida. Don't rob my house.
I know where your house is.
You know where I live.
So
do you know what? You're welcome to. Let yourself in. Fucking who cares? Have a great time.
There's nothing inside Sam's house. He lives a minimal existence. It's fucking depressing.
That's A, true. And B, I also empty my entire house every time I leave it for safety.
That means you can easily just rob the shed, break into the shed.
Shed is full of shit. Absolutely. Do me a favor, rob my shed. Just take like 1/8 of a bag of peat and just be done with it. Get out of there.
Do me a favor, rob my shed feels like the most accidentally sexually charged thing you've ever said.
I feel like that's something a woman has said to Danny Dyer before. Do us a favor, pal. Rob my shed. Fucking hell. Whoa, right there. Love it. Terrifier and Terrifier 2. Thanks for joining us on Final Transmission.